go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. Today, a very special lady, very special guest. Her name is Zoe Hartsfield. Did I pronounce that correct? I hope so. She is the partner marketing manager at Dooley. Zoe, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing, Rocco?
No, I'm good. Zoe, I want to dive into this concept of building relationships, because if you go through your LinkedIn profile, that's basically at the core of what you do, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I got my start in SaaS as an SDR, so sales and sales development. And that's all about relationship building. And now I've found myself in more of a marketing capacity, but it's just more relationship building. It's just higher up in the funnel. So yeah.
Oh, well done. Let's go. Higher up in the funnel. I mean, come on. How much, what else do you want? Listen, what makes a great, what is some character traits that you're looking for in people that's saying, okay, cool, that person's going to be a great relationship builder?
Well, so I think it goes both ways, but the two things that I look for and I try and emulate are intrigue and humility. So, you know, and not to say like I am an intriguing person, I'm an interesting person, but demonstrating that you're genuinely intrigued by the other person and that you're interested in who they are, that you know a little bit about them, things like that. And it just, you know, have you ever heard that, like, be interested instead of interesting?
Totally.
It makes people feel good, and it creates a more genuine bond. And I think humility is really just adjacent to authenticity, but authenticity has become such a buzzword these days. It doesn't really mean anything anymore. So when you put them together and you're asking someone you've never met before to meet up or just chat, I would approach it maybe like this, where you would send them a note, or better yet, a video, and you would thank them or highlight something that they've done, show them that you know who they are and what they're up to, and then let them know that you would love to get to know them better or learn from them, and you want to make it a super easy yes. So what that means is, like, instead of asking for an hour of their time to chat, ask for 20 minutes. Or maybe offer to DoorDash them coffee or lunch.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So for me, when I looked at your profile, one thing that popped out is mediocre podcast guest. And for me, that was, oh yeah, I have to talk to her, because that's like, why would you say that? You are a relationship, you know, I mean, you build relationships at your core, and yet here you pitch yourself as a mediocre podcast guest. I think that's what you talked about, right? It's that intriguing part.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like a little bit of like self-deprecating humor in my mind. Like I know people read it and they get kind of a chuckle out of it, or they're like, why would she say that? And it is a conversation starter. I can't tell you how many people have like messaged me and been like, what do you mean you're a mediocre podcast guest? And I was like, well, listen to any of the podcasts I've been on and tell me. Like, so.
But that's awesome. That's like a brilliant segue into what you're doing now at Dooley. I mean, Dooley is basically blowing up LinkedIn, right? So I follow Mark and I follow Ryan, and that content is amazing. I mean, Ryan, from what I understand, basically had one of the all-time greatest pitches at Gravy. That day was just like dominating posts everywhere. What exactly are you guys doing differently than all the other guys in this space?
Yeah, of course. I mean, without giving too much away.
No company secrets. No company secrets, please.
You know, Dooley, full disclosure, I've been there for 2 weeks so far. I mean, I've had relationships with some of the people at Dooley for a little bit longer than that, but just in the time that I've been there, I've been diving into what we're doing with marketing, and what we're doing within the whole org is they really, really believe in surprise and delight. Like, you want to surprise and delight, or as we like to say, do-light, our customer through every part of the go-to-market motion. So from product to sales to CS, and, you know, even starting with marketing, we really want to create this experience for people where it stands out because it makes them feel good. It makes them smile. And, you know, Dooley was this product that came about from a salesperson. It was a salesperson's idea.
Yeah.
And so it's by sales for sales. And because of that, we have this level of empathy for our customer that I think actually translates really, really well through humor because of the nature of sales. Like, it's just so grueling. And
yeah, I get you.
being able to laugh like at yourself or at your day or just like a problem you're facing is really, really helpful. So I think that's our strength is we use humor, we tell it like it is, and we approach marketing in that way. And it just kind of all comes together in a really, really fun way.
Well, I think it shows, and it's got a lot to do with company culture. And I mean, you guys got, I mean, I know you've only been there for 2 weeks, but I'm sitting all across, other side of the pond, and I pick up on the company culture. I mean, it's sort of infectious.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people talk about company culture all the time. And I actually recently posted about this. Like, it's a hard time trusting people who constantly brag about their company culture. I'm like, if it's so great, why do you have to brag about it all the time? Like, why do you feel the need to defend it? And Dooley, you pretty much never hear people like bragging on the company culture. Like, they'll highlight a teammate or they'll say they had a fun day at work or something like that. But like, it just is woven into everything that they do. Everyone is so genuine. The hustle is there, which I love. Like, I feel like we're all a bunch of like scrappy people full on sprinting towards the same goal.
Love
and like,
it.
It feels like a genuine team over there. And I really love that.
So 2 weeks in, right? Coming from relationship building, marketing into sales SaaS, any particular skill that you have to learn now? I assuming CRM is one of them.
So, I mean, I because I used to work in sales, I am familiar with Salesforce, and I have played around with Dooley a little bit myself before I came over. So definitely just like diving deeper into the product, making sure I know it inside and out and every potential pain we could solve for. Like, that's something I'm focusing on in the next week or two, as well as I actually really do want to spend more time in Salesforce, because Salesforce is a lot of the pain that we solve for. It's this really, really beautiful tool, but it's kind of a beast. Yeah. And there's just so much to know or not know, and it breaks so easily because it can provide you so much information. So it's like, I don't want to bag on Salesforce. I think it's a great tool, but having something like Dooley that can plug in and make your life so much easier, I want to understand the like frustration that people have within Salesforce. And because I was a rep, I knew it a little bit, but I want to really understand it from like a managerial perspective and the people building out the systems and the reports and like a Salesforce architect. So I am actually going to be taking a couple Salesforce like trailhead courses and trying to get myself familiar with that just on my own time.
Yeah, but that's something that I really admire from following you is your work, how can I put it? You just put in a level of effort and work, and it can actually come through in your post, comes through from your engagement. And I think you're going to nail it. I mean, like a week or two and you got it down.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think if you want to grow and get better, you have to like constantly be learning new things.
Absolutely.
It's like a humbling experience because you're like, wow, I really don't know as much as I think that I know. But it's also really gratifying when you figure something out or you like conquer a new level of something. And so I think it's good and helpful to continue with learning.
Yeah, that's the thing about growing out of discomfort, because you can't grow in comfort. So speaking of that, like post-COVID networking, I mean, networking for me is very personal. It's a coffee grabbing here because we lose maybe eyesight or a gesture here or there or a connection. Mm-hmm. What does networking look for Zoe post-COVID? Any new trends and stuff?
Yeah, so I think it's like multifaceted. So I think, even as the world opens back up, people are going to be hesitant to walk up to strangers in the same way that they used to. So even when we go back to shows, or conferences, or even just seeing somebody out in public, there's going to be a level of hesitation. So I think connections will continue to be made digitally. And I think with all the security and digital noise and things that are cropping up lately, introductions are going to become more and more important. So it's going to be a little bit less of like, hey, I'm a stranger, do you want to get to know me? And more so like asking your friend who knows that person if they could introduce you. I think that's going to become more and more common.
That's a cool tip.
It is getting harder and harder to reach out to a stranger and get them to chat with you. So knowing someone and getting some sort of intro will become more important. And I also think personal brand will become more and more necessary, and not just, digital personal brand, but what those people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
Because, I think it's almost like this verification piece of the puzzle. Like, oh yeah, this is a real person. I can chat with them. I actually wouldn't be shocked if LinkedIn cracks down and starts requiring some kind of intro to be made to connect with someone new. They've already restricted how many connections someone can make in a day, and they really emphasize only connecting with people you already know. So I think they're trending towards some kind of introduction or verification step as well.
Yeah, so to summarize, basically, you would say build a real authentic brand, and then try and leverage like someone that that might put you in touch with someone that you need to know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think an introduction, anytime someone I know, I'm pretty open to chatting with people, and if strangers make the effort to like reach out to me and be like, hey, I'd really love to chat for a couple minutes. Like, I just want to learn about how you went from sales to marketing. Like, I get that one a lot from like SDRs, and I'm happy to have those conversations. But I had somebody recently, a connection, reach out to me and say, hey, I know this kid, he's about to graduate from college. Would you, and I say kid, I graduated like 2 years ago. I'm not that much older. But, he's about to graduate from college. Would you mind just chatting with him? Like, he's got questions about working in marketing and SaaS. And I was like, yeah, of course. And I prioritize those things. So I think anytime you can have an introduction, and it's just an extra layer of like, oh, I'm vouching for this person, that they're not, gonna immediately hit you with a pitch, or they're not gonna be creepy or inappropriate, or they're not gonna try and waste your time. Like, they want to actually get to know you.
Yeah, and I think in the digital age or the digital space, that is really important, having that distinction between who's real and who's fake, basically. Zay, before I let you go, if the listeners want to connect with you somewhere, where can they find you? Where can they find out more about Dooley?
Yeah, I would say Dooley, you can go to dooley.ai. And that's DOOLY.ai, or check us out both on LinkedIn, Zoe Hartsfield and Dooley. Also, if you follow Sales Humor or the Daily Sales, we pop up on there from time to time. We like to help contribute content, and I would say LinkedIn is probably the best ways to find us both.
So thank you so much for coming on today. To our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And we'll check you in the next one. Cheers.